Welcome, I'm Bev Adams. I own an independent paper crafting business showcasing products from Stampin' Up! I made this pretty card with products from Stampin' Up! I sell these products and also a few items to make crafting more convenient. I have the free detailed directions for this project on my website, and you'll be able to click the links for the products that you would like to be taken to my online store at Stampin' Up! You'll see where to find all of that at the end of this video, so don't worry about taking notes. It's time to put stamps, ink, and paper together. I wanted to plan a card that was based really on just the greeting, and I'm using Charming Sentiments, so there's not a big focal image. I am using the Coordinating Sentiment Silhouettes dies. I'm also using the Delicate Edges dies and the Seasonal Labels dies. My ink is Real Red, and I will be using a blending brush. I'll be using the mini ruffled ribbon and some red rhinestone jewels. My cardstock for this card is Real Red, and it is still a half sheet of Real Red. It started out by 5.5 and 8.5, but I did score it and cut it differently. Let me show you how I did that. So let me start out with my 5.5 by 8.5. I have scored it at 2.5 and 5. Usually I have 4.25, but this is only 3.5 here. And then I've cut this at an angle. Now I have drawn a diagonal line. I've gone from this cutting line off at a 45-degree angle. So I can just use this by putting my cardstock on the line, and I drew this with a fine tip permanent marker, like a Sharpie marker, but then I put tape on it so it doesn't come off, and that's actually kind of nice because I can kind of put my cardstock against there and slide it, and I want this score line to be right at the cutting point. Since you might not have the diagonal line, so we want it from this point, and that's at 5 inches, and so we want to measure down to here at 5 inches and put a pencil mark here. And either way, you're going to be cutting a line from here to here. I have a piece of the Silver and Gold Designer Series paper, and this is from Celebration. This started out at 2.25 by 5.25. But to cut the diagonal the way we want it to, I'm putting it print side down and putting this point at the cutting line. And I've already done that. I do find that diagonal line very helpful. I have a piece of the gold foil sheet. This started out at 5.5 by 1.5. I already cut it out with this piece. Let me tell you, you will have lots of confetti. Let me show you the way I did it on this side. I just put this piece on the very edge. You want to be sure that the points are right on the edge of the cardstock. You don't want to have those not cut out, but then center it this way. But that just makes a beautiful border, doesn't that? From Charming Sentiments, I already cut out wishing you everything wonderful. When I first got this, I thought it was going to be hard to match the die with the stamp. That is really easy. What I found hard was to match the die with the words. So I went ahead and wrote the words. I also stamped all of them twice with the Stamparatus, and so you can also see which shape is which this way. And I have gone ahead and cut all of those out for the people in my workshop. And then I also have a piece of gold foil. This piece is just 1.5 by 4. And I'm going to cut out the smallest label from the seasonal labels die. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. I also cut out one of the things with this die set, there aren't any images with the stamps, but there are quite a few of these little extra things, candles and bows, and I guess this is a butterfly. I'm using this kind of shooting star rays and the solid star, and I've already cut those out. So cutting out this label, the light gray platform, I find this one easier to go through the machine. A clear plate, my foil covered with the die and covering it up with another number 2 clear plate and rolling it through. And that just cuts out beautifully. And I also have a piece of basic white that is 3.5 by 5 1/4. So with this piece, I'm going to fold it, kind of a Z fold. Like so. I've decided to change this up a little bit. This is a little bit too distracting. So I'm going to put just a piece of ribbon that this is 5.5 inches, and I'm going to put it over the cardstock that goes to the inside, and I want it on the edge, about maybe 1/4 of an inch from the edge. And I do want a knot, but I want to be able to move that knot around, so I've got another 3 inches that I'm going to tie my knot on separately so that I can move this up and down if I want. And I can go ahead and put this on the inside of the card. And then I'm going to put this on the back of the card. So I'm going to go ahead and put adhesive on the back. And I'm going to go ahead and place my design at about 3 1/4. And then place this on the other side, so that I have my 4 1/4 card base, so it's still 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, just like a standard card. The gold stripey I'm going to make red with Real Red ink and the blending brush. And I want this pretty dark, so I'm going to go ahead and ink this up. And this blending brush really does a nice job of blending. because I'm going so dark, I'm not worrying so much about tapping off that extra ink at the beginning. I'm basically going full strength. And when you do that, you actually get red ink on the gold foil, but it doesn't really stick so much. So if you take just a tissue and kind of burnish it off, that will bring out the gold a little bit. And then I can go ahead and put this here. And I am leaving a little bit of a border. I'm mostly concerned with the top border, getting that to match up. And in this case, it's a little extra long, so I'm going to trim some of this off. I could have probably left that on because we're going to be covering that up here. You could leave this open, or you can go ahead and put adhesive here if you'd like. Next, put the label here, and you can have it sticking out a little bit over the edge if you'd like. In fact, it probably will stick out over the edge, so be careful that your adhesive doesn't go over the edge. And now you can move this knot up a little bit if you'd like. And I do think I like that knot better. And I think I'll go ahead and put these on now so that I don't lose them. And I'll put this here. And I'm going to put that little star on with a mini dimensional. And I'm not sure if I mentioned, I'm using the red rhinestone basic jewels. And I'm just going to put one of those right in the middle of the star, and I'll put three or four or five scattered up here. I usually work in odd numbers, and I think 3 is just fine. Actually, maybe I'll go ahead and put 5. Now you could go ahead and stamp your greeting on your cardstock and cut it out that way. But I like to use the Stamparatus, and when you have this framed outline, it makes your life very simple. So wishing you everything wonderful, and it doesn't really matter where you put it. I just want to have kind of in this area somewhere. And notice that I did not try to have it even. I'm going to go ahead and ink my stamp and stamp it here. The thing that gets it even is to place my outline over my stamped image. And you can get a pretty perfect image that way. So making sure that that's where you want it. Put your piece in there that's already cut out. This saves, if you're making a lot of them, doing it this way saves cardstock because you can cut them out closer together. Ink it and stamp it. And you get a perfect image. So now I just need to add dimensionals to the back. Remove the backing and set it in place. And that's it. Wishing you everything wonderful. Here is the web address for this project, where you'll find the free directions and links for the products I used. You can click individual products or the Add All to the cart. You will be able to remove products you don't need or add more products. I have lots of resources on my website. Most of them are free, It's easy to miss some of those resources or to get lost exploring. Let me take you on a quick tour. Just under the banner image are 6 links. Under Shop, you'll find links to the products from Bev, shopping strategies, my frequent shopping points, and a sampling from the clearance rack. Under Inspiration, you can link to scroll all of my projects since 2011. The products may be retired, but you may be inspired by a layout, color combination, or a technique. I have the basics, where I've written about stamps, ink and paper, cutting, adhesives, and my favorite tools. You'll find a link to Techie Tips and an easy link back to my latest post. Click on Getting Organized, and you'll find some of my resources for stamp case slips, product labels, large labels for designer series paper, and more. Case inserts for dies, embellishments, and anything I think might fit in a stamp case, including ink refills. You'll also find color tools and charts, a practically free stamp pad storage solution, tabs and a quick reference for the annual catalog, and plans for toolkits. I have a video of my craft wall and more. Click on Evernote Current Products and you can learn how to share my notebook. This notebook has a note for every current product from Stampin' Up! It allows you to search by color, image, product type, word, phrase, or event, and more. I include French, German, and Dutch names and numbers when available, and the prices for all the markets. Evernote synchronizes on your phone, tablet, and or your desktop or laptop computer, so you can look through the Stampin' Up! Catalog from anywhere, anytime. You can copy my notes for the products you own so you can find just what you're looking for. When products retire, I move them to the Retired Products Notebook, which I also share, and I host a notebook for Paper Pumpkin. Click on Sip Together and then Let's Stamp to come stamp with me or join my Sip Together team. There's also a link to learn a bit about me. The sitemap will help you navigate all these links from one page. And there are quick links along the side of my page. Shop Now takes you to my online store at Stampin' Up! You'll see the current host code. It would be a great help to me if you use that if you are ordering less than $150. You can click on the current catalogs to page through them online. And then there are my links to my 5 most recent posts. Thank you very much for stopping by and hope to see you soon.